Have you ever made a promise so big, so heartfelt, that it became the driving force behind everything you do? Today, I want to share a story that will touch your heart and maybe even inspire you to chase your own impossible dreams. This is the story of Leo, the poor kid who promised his mom a house and, against all odds, kept that promise. Our story begins in a small, weathered house, barely big enough for a family of four. This was Leo's world. Rain would often find its way through the leaky roof, and the thin walls did little to keep out the winter chill. Leo's father worked tirelessly at a local factory, and his mother, Maria, took on odd jobs, her hands always busy, her smile always gentle, but her eyes often carrying the weight of their struggles. Leo, even as a young boy, was acutely aware of their hardship. He saw the lines of worry on his mother's face every time a new bill arrived. He saw her shiver on cold nights, pulling a thin blanket tighter around her shoulders. One particularly stormy evening, as they huddled together listening to the rain drum against their roof, a drip landed right on his mother's cheek. She wiped it away, but Leo saw it look just like a tear. In that moment, something shifted inside him. He was only 8 years old, but his heart was filled with a fierce determination. He looked his mother in the eyes and said, "Mom, I promise, one day I'll buy you a big, beautiful house." "A house with a strong roof where you'll never be cold or wet again?" Maria smiled, a tired but loving smile, and hugged her little boy, whispering, "I know you will, my dear." She might have seen it as a child's sweet dream, but for Leo, it was a sacred vow. That promise became Leo's guiding star. School, for him, wasn't just about learning. It was the first step on the long road to fulfilling his vow. He knew education was his only ticket out of poverty. While other kids were out playing, Leo was often found with his head buried in a book. He devoured knowledge, excelling in math and science. He stayed late at the library, the quiet hum of the lights a comforting sound as he explored worlds far beyond his small town. He wasn't just studying for grades. He was studying for his mother. Every A on his report card felt like laying another brick for her future home. Of course it wasn't easy. The path was riddled with obstacles. In high school, his father lost his job at the factory, and the family's already precarious situation became dire. There were times when Leo thought he might have to drop out of school to work and help support them. The thought was crushing. He'd spend his evenings doing odd jobs, mowing lawns, delivering newspapers, anything to bring in a few extra dollars. He was exhausted, often studying late into the night, fueled by cheap coffee and the image of his mother's smile. The temptation to give up was immense. He saw his friends with their carefree lives and felt a pang of envy. But then he would look at his mother, her hands worn from a lifetime of hard work, and the fire in him would reignite. His promise was not just words. It was the foundation of his identity. His hard work paid off. Leo graduated at the top of his class and earned a full scholarship to a prestigious engineering university. Leaving home was one of the hardest things he'd ever done. He hugged his mother tightly at the bus station, repeating his promise. "I'm doing this for you, Mom, for our house." The university was a whole new world, intimidating and exhilarating. He was surrounded by students from privileged backgrounds, and feelings of inadequacy often crept in. He felt like an outsider, the poor kid who didn't quite belong. But he channeled that feeling into his work, studying harder than anyone else. He took on part-time jobs on campus, in the cafeteria and the library, sending every spare dollar back home. He lived frugally, skipping meals at times, always keeping the image of his dream house in his mind. It wasn't a mansion, just a simple, sturdy home with a small garden for his mom. That image was his fuel. After 4 grueling years, Leo graduated with honors. He landed a coveted job at a top engineering firm in the city. His first paycheck felt like $1 million. He didn't spend it on a fancy new phone or clothes. Instead, he opened a separate savings account and labeled it Mom's House. With every paycheck, he religiously deposited a significant portion into that account. It grew slowly at first, but Leo was patient. He continued to live a simple life, a stark contrast to his colleagues. While they went on expensive vacations and bought new cars, Leo drove a second-hand beater and packed his own lunch. They sometimes teased him for being cheap, not understanding the profound mission he was on. Each deposit was a victory, a tangible step closer to his childhood promise. Years passed. Leo climbed the corporate ladder, his reputation as a brilliant and dedicated engineer growing. The mom's house account swelled. He spent weekends looking at real estate listings, his heart racing with anticipation. Finally, the day came. After nearly 15 years of relentless saving and sacrifice, he had enough. He found the perfect house, a charming, sunlit cottage in a quiet neighborhood, with a sturdy roof and a beautiful garden, just as he had pictured all those years ago. The day he took his mother to see it is a memory etched forever in his heart. He drove her to the quiet street, his hands trembling slightly on the steering wheel. He parked in front of the house and simply said, "Mom, what do you think?" Maria looked at the lovely home, a garden blooming with roses in the front yard, and her eyes filled with confusion. "It's beautiful, Leo, but why are we here?" Leo smiled, his own eyes welling up. He pulled a set of keys from his pocket and placed them in her hand. "Mom," he said, his voice thick with emotion, "I made you a promise a long time ago. Welcome home." The wave of understanding that washed over Maria's face was something Leo will never forget. Tears of pure joy streamed down her cheeks as she hugged her son, her body shaking with sobs. They walked through the front door together, into the warm, spacious living room, the sunlight pouring through the large windows. Maria touched the smooth walls, ran her hand along the kitchen counter, and looked up at the solid, unwavering ceiling. For the first time in her life, she felt a sense of complete security and peace. The little boy who had promised her the world had, in his own way, delivered it. He had built her a fortress of love, brick by brick, with his sweat, tears, and unwavering dedication. Leo's story is a powerful testament to the strength of a promise and the incredible power of love. It reminds us that our dreams, no matter how big or distant they seem, are achievable if they are fueled by a purpose greater than ourselves. It's not just about buying a house. It's about honoring the people we love and repaying their sacrifices. It's about turning a childhood vow into a lifelong legacy. So what's your promise? What's the dream that keeps you going when things get tough? Share your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to read them. Thank you so much for watching and being a part of our community. If this story moved you, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more inspiring content. We'll see you in the next one.